So we're in the book of Acts. The book of Acts is a very important book in my life. The book of Acts is a book that helped me to understand what the true church of Jesus looks like, what it does, and really helped to heal me and restore me to love the church that belongs to Jesus as a teenager, wounded by the actions of people who claimed that they were the church. And looking back, many of them were just wolves in sheep's clothing, and just really caused me to hate the church from the age of 13 till about 18 years old, until I encountered some people that loved Jesus, but also I encountered the book of Acts. I picked it up and read it, had never read it, even though I've been in church since I was 5 or 6 years old, never read the book of Acts until I was 17 and a half years old. And so the book of Acts has been on a journey with me for the last 30 years as my love for the church has grown, my desire to see the church be what God has called us to be, his bride, and what we're functioning to do. So the next videos, we're going to go chapter by chapter through the book of Acts, just in short spurts. So there'll be a lot of videos, but they'll be short in time frame. So Acts chapter 1, we're just going to go through the what I think is the central verse, and not the theological mastermind or the what everybody agrees, just as I've studied in my life and read the book of Acts several times. What I feel like is the central text of the particular chapter in each chapter. So Acts chapter 1, verse 8, Jesus tells his disciples, you receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. In Acts chapter 1, verse 8, but you'll receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the end of the earth. Before the church ever preached a sermon as the church, after Jesus ascended into heaven, they waited. They went to the upper room. They followed the instructions of Christ, and they prayed. And they prayed, and they trusted, and they waited. Acts 1 reminds us that the mission of the church is global. The power of the Holy Spirit and the message of Jesus, this is our job. You receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and Jesus said, you will be my witnesses. In Acts 1, we see the promise of the Holy Spirit to live in, dwell in us as the church, individually making up the church. As Luke wrote the Gospel of Luke, he was living out the book of Acts. As he witnesses the apostles and he describes them and he's interviewing them, writing the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, he starts writing Acts as he travels with Paul and as he travels on these missionary journeys. We're also taught in Acts that the foundation of the church, Luke wrote the book of Acts, but he doesn't write about himself. As he wrote Acts, Luke is not, there's only a couple of, and when we get to the end and in the middle, Luke will say we a few times, but he doesn't talk about himself a lot. The book of Acts is about the church, not about an individual. And so because it was not about him, it was about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so that teaches us what we're to be about, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Acts 1:8 is a mandate to the church. It tells us, and when we get to Acts chapter 2, verse 42, we'll see what it looks like as it is done. Before the church ever preached a sermon, they waited, they prayed, and they trusted. From the upper room in Jerusalem will come the church of Antioch, a great missional church. The church of Philippi will come from the upper room, from Jerusalem. The church of Galatia, the church of Crete, which Titus was the pastor. Timothy, the young pastor, will come on the scene as he leads the church. And so the story of the church is the book of Acts. Who the church is the book of Acts. Acts 1 reminds us the mission is global, the power is the Holy Spirit, and the message is Jesus Christ. And this is our job. Be his witnesses right where we are. And as we travel through the book of Acts, we will see just what the church that belongs to Jesus truly is and what it looks like. So as we go through this book of Acts and we go through our life, I think the one thing that the book of Acts, what Jesus wants us to do as a church, is let's have an impact on the world for Christ.